Hello everyone, MrSnowman here, and we're playing Conquest on Metro, and I'm actually on the extremely winning side, which is, kind of boring, actually. But, anyway, we're actually gonna run around with the F2000 here. Haven't used this gun in a while, it's one of my favorites. And my dog, if you hear someone like halfly crying a little bit in the background, it's because my dog doesn't really likes to be alone. My parents are out in the yard doing stuff, and so I'm trying to record while. Gå ut! Gå ut! Gå ut därifrån! And I got tired of her because she's the only thing that she is doing is crying. Whenever we leave her alone, and she's just gonna have to deal with it for now. Anyway. So I basically, everyone that is slightly paying attention, or to some degree is interested of Battlefield, knows what the next Battlefield game is going to be. It's gonna be a World War One game, and I like World War One. It's a good historic, not really good historic event, but we learned quite a lot on how dangerous and how brutal fighting can be when a lot of countries are allied with one another, and so the whole alliance goes to war, and a lot of people got killed. But a Battlefield game based on that, everyone is kind of excited. Trench warfare sounds cool, right? Pushing trenches, but it wasn't. It wasn't that simple. To push a trench is basically like going up to a machine gun and say, "Hello, please shoot me in the face." It was very brutal because they rushed. It was open fields. Beyond your trench, there was nothing usually, except an enemy machine gunner position on the top of the other side, in which, yeah, shot you dead. And then you just returned to your trench, waited for them to push, and try to retake your position, and that's it. Nothing more than that happened, basically. And tanks were present. In the end of the war, there was tanks. No denying that. There was definitely tanks in World War One. But in the very, very, in the end of, in the end of the war, there were tanks, yes. This is true. But still, those tanks were highly ineffective. They were basically big cars. They had armor to stop bullets, yes. But, they weren't very maneuverable. They were kind of bulky. No, they were bulky, not kind of, they were. And so they weren't very effective. They were effective at trying to break points, use them as like a thing to just, grab bullets for you, basically. Take the fight, and then you can shoot, and then they will shoot at the tank in panic, and that's it. That's basically what the tank was. It was basically an armored car, more or less. And so, it wasn't moving. World War One was very, very standstill combat, and so, yeah. Well, shit. And so it was very, very standstill. You didn't push, because then you were stupid. And obviously in video games, people want to have better stats. And so they won't push, they will just sit and camp in their trenches. Because that's how you play a World War One game. That is how you do it. That is how they did, and that's what the best tactic was. And what I'm afraid of here is that basically active combat will basically, 1 HP, it will be a standstill in the game. If they don't, really, really make it, So in the end of the war, for instance, they had some machine gunners and stormtroopers on the German side, for instance, using the MP-18 to just storm trenches and toss grenades and use their spade to cut people's heads off and stuff like that. And that's how the blitzkrieg and the tactics that we now know of is formed, basically. In the end of World War One and between World War Two and World War Two is basically where the art of having every single element of an army attacking one specific spot called Blitzkrieg. Um, that is how it all formed. That is what combat is today, and it will probably remain for a few years like this. But in World War One, there was no such thing as Blitzkrieg. There were no such thing as, we need to push and take out this position. No, it wasn't. It was kind of like, yeah, of course it was. But if we take this position, you need to knock out the machine gun tower because machine gun tower is mowing us down, as you've seen. And basically the objective became just to burst through the enemy line. But the enemy line was so fortified because, well, the enemies didn't have the firepower. The foot soldier did not have the firepower needed to punch through such line. And trenches were highly effective in World War II as well, and that means that the tactic for defense is good. And no one could really offense through that. It's very hard to try to knock out someone when they are basically hiding in a trench and just waiting for you and they know that you're coming. It's impossible. There's no way to really go away from that. You're basically stuck there. And and that is how I imagine the game probably isn't going to be. I won't, go ahead and say that the game is completely shit. I haven't played it. I've just, seen trailers and, heard what people think about it and, got my own opinion about this whole thing. And my opinion is that it will probably not suck. A lot of World War I fans, including myself, will probably enjoy playing the game. But then again, there is still this game called Verdun, which is basically, yeah, it's basically how World War I was fought. Very, very, good game representing this. And not really a whole lot of other. You don't really. I've seen tanks in the game. I haven't really played the game myself. I've just seen people playing it, and no tanks I've seen so far. It's been, trench warfare, infantry based. Obviously, there were tanks in the in the in the end of World War One, as I already told you. But obviously they weren't as effective as an Abrahams or a T-91 or not even close. That is a whole new generation of tanks. Even the Tiger tank outmaneuvered the tanks in World War One. And the Tiger tank was a bulky piece of shit, but it had a big cannon. That's what its thing was. It was like a mobile artillery piece, basically. And that's why it was so good at knocking out Shermans, because it had tremendous power. And so, yeah. So what I think is going to happen here is Battlefield are digging themselves into a hole. I would love to see a World War II shooter again, because World War II shooters are actually kind of cool, That is how we still fight combat, and so that makes more sense than bringing up a game that's basically, well, let us say, it doesn't fit today's, people doesn't want to sit in a trench camp. Not like me, I want to try to take objectives, and taking objectives in World War One was basically, it just didn't happen, Not even no one really managed to, take out another trench. It was very, very impossible and required more teamwork than whatever is ever going to be achieved on a public server. There is no way in my mind that people will succeed with this. Maybe if the maps are built differently with like artillery able to destroy and bomb out like trenches and stuff, that would be cool. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this gameplay, even though I didn't do that bad, even though I didn't do that good. 11-11 is not very good. But anyway, I will keep talking about this in my next video that's coming up on Thursday. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and as always, have a beautiful day.